Nadel is the CEO of the cross-party think tank Compassion in Politics. Hello to you, Jennifer. Thanks for coming on.
Nice to be with you again, Jonathan.
What do you think then? Who's got it right on this, Keir Starmer or Tony Blair?
Well, I don't think either of them have got it completely right, but Starmer is certainly taking a much better position than the one that Blair wants us to take. This is an illegal war, and if Britain helps America, it is acting illegally. And we should be standing up for the rule of law, and we should be seeking to de-escalate this senseless conflict, which is causing loss of life, harm, and now huge economic harm to struggling families across the world.
Even if in the process of standing by our principles, we end up upsetting arguably our biggest and most important ally in the world?
Well, I'm not sure what we're really gaining by cozying up to Trump. You know, we have to call it out for what it is. Trump is bloodthirsty, power-crazed, disregards the rule of law, and corrupt. 1 minute he wants the Nobel Peace Prize, the next minute he's snatching the president of a sovereign country, the next minute he wants to take Greenland, and now he's waging an illegal war in the Middle East. He's also failed to put pressure on Putin to stop the war in Ukraine. So I'm not really sure what we're gaining. We get tariffs slapped on us willy-nilly. This is an abusive relationship, not a special relationship, and we need to call it out and stand up for what's right and true, because this could tip into an even bigger conflict if those who are on the side of the rule of law don't stand up for it.
But, and I hear everything you're saying. There may well be lots of people listening who totally agree with, in essence, what you've said and the principle behind it. But we don't live in a perfect world, do we? And sometimes standing by your principles can end up kicking you in the face. We have lots and lots of trade that is very dependent on America. A lot of our defence is very dependent on America. Think of all of the intelligence that we gain as a country from America and what they are prepared to share with us as a country. If we upset the Americans and if they start to drift away from us and don't share the intelligence, if they start to drift away from us and don't continue to buy things from this country, then it's all well and good having your principles, but we'll be much poorer.
So you're saying that we should wage an illegal war to appease a president who's shown he's completely quixotic and chaotic in his approach and absolutely unreliable. What we're talking about are killing innocent civilians across the Middle East. And that is a principle that I would stand up for. And if we have to experience hardship, we have to experience hardship, because the hardship we experience now will be far less than the hardship we experience in the future if we don't try and put a brake on his conduct.
Well, I'm not saying anything at all, but I am presenting to you the argument, and we've heard the argument already on this programme, that in a situation like this, which of course in an ideal world nobody would want, in a situation like this, we as an important country in the world have to pick a side. And the argument seems to be from those that feel we're not doing enough, is that we've just dithered and stood looking as if we don't really know what to do. And by not picking a side, that in itself speaks volumes. It speaks volumes to our allies and it speaks volumes to our enemies.
Yes, and what it says to our allies is that we are going to think cautiously before we attack another country. We are going to abide by the advice we're given as to the legality of a war, and we're not going to be bounced into a senseless conflict by a country that pretends to be our closest friend and yet imposes tariffs and threatens other NATO countries. I hear what you're saying, and yes, we do have a lot to lose. We're part of the Five Eyes. There are intelligence considerations and many more, but we are also making ourselves a legitimate target for Iran's retaliation if we lend him support for offensive action. And we should be doing what the president of Spain, the prime minister of Spain has been doing, which is saying, no, we're against this, we're not doing it. The more of us, Starmer talked about a coalition of the willing, and now we need a coalition of those who believe in the rule of law to stand up and say, no, not in our name. Yes, we have an incredible relationship with America, especially the American people, if not the current incumbents of the White House, but we are not going to pour paraffin onto the flames of war.
Okay, very interesting speaking to you as always, Jennifer. Thank you so much for your time. Jennifer Nadel is the CEO of the cross-party think tank Compassion in Politics. What do you think?